Hi guys, okay, so this is the last part of Excel. You'll be glad to hear. And we're just going to briefly look at charts. And this is an extension of what they could ask you to prepare a chart. Yes. So at the end of this, I'm going to show you how to use Excel to prepare a range of charts and show you where to go to prepare those charts. And you'll be able to sort of work out what type of chart is suitable for the information presented. Well, they say a picture tells a million words, and that's exactly what charts do. So if you're going to be doing presentations, you need to learn to be able to play around with charts and have your data speak for you. Okay, so we're going to look at two tasks very briefly. And when I say, look at them, you're going to see how easy it is. And really how to manipulate this. So here I have some information. Yes, and I have, I put some countries, and these are the men in the country, the women in the country, the children, and the total population. I guess you could put this in thousands or hundreds of thousands, if you like, but I'm just going to work with these simple numbers. And you could be asked, if you like, you might want to represent this information via a range of charts. You could represent it via a pie chart. You could represent this information via bar chart or via line chart. Yes, and you'll see, what these are really in a second. Now, to start working with our charts, we go to Insert. Yeah, Insert. When you go to Insert, you click on Insert, and then you have your range of charts. And this is a newer version of Excel, so this all looks pretty snazzy, but by clicking on Insert, you'll see the range of charts that you can use. Now, the way I recommend you do this is to always highlight what it is you want to represent. Now, a bar chart, if you like, yes, well, let me show you, for example, if we wanted to represent the number of men in these countries, well, we would highlight, if you like, the countries, yes, and then if I press the Control key down, if I press highlight this, and then highlight this, hold your Control key down, and then press your left key on your mouse, and then scroll down. So if you want to highlight those two, you need to hold your Control key down at the same time clicking on your left mouse to highlight men. I mean, I could have highlighted, because they're next to each other, I could just have highlighted both of them. But sometimes you might want to compare countries, so when I say compare, show countries, and you might want to be highlighting countries and children, for example, because those aren't next to each other. Yeah. So let's actually do that, countries and children. And then I go to my bar chart, and I click on bar. It gives me a range of 2D or 3D, and you can see it's already preparing the information. Yes, and you can see very clearly that let's just prepare it, let's do this one. Yes. And you can see that along my horizontal axes, yes, I guess if you remember my x-axis, I have the countries. So Excel will always pick up the very first column and use that as your horizontal axis. And this will be your the data you're trying to show. And here's the thing, we've highlighted the information, so we can do so much with this. You can change the chart type if you wanted to. I've clicked on change chart type. You could change it to a pie chart. Yes. And let's see what that looks like as a pie chart. Yes, let's change it to a pie chart. So there's such a range, as I say again, I'm going to go back to the bar chart. So the question really is how do you want to represent your information? I've done this sort of more horizontal sort of bar chart. How do you want to show your information? So you need to be comfortable with that. As I say, yours might not look like this, but really at the top you'll always have the information that you're that you need things to manipulate it. Here we are. So once you've done that, these are the key buttons you need. This design, and there's another one next to this. Let's go back to design. So you can, you will have the opportunity to add things like give your axes titles, give your chart a title. Yes. So by you playing around with this, you can actually change. Yes, play around with the information. You can actually change the data, or change the, if you like, the titles and the headings, if you like, in your chart. Yes, and this is all very playable with. You can actually work with this. There's nothing really amazing about this. It's just you messing around with it and doing different things. So really, it's this issue of design, having different colors, and this chart element, and doing different things to it. For example, like this axis title, giving it, we could go in there and just type in whatever we want to type in, if you like. And this was population, we could type in population here, population, nothing special really, and that's that. Yes. So practice that. Yes, the key point, just go back and just look at what we've done. Go back to insert and play around with those different areas. But the key point here, and with time, you can see if you highlight inside the chart, you can move the chart out. You can put it in there. Do that. It's something to play with. Okay. Now you can see here that we really, to represent this information, we must have either a bar chart, because we're representing, if you like, names against numbers. Yes. So a bar chart would work, a pie chart would work. Yes. But if we were representing numbers against numbers, well, this wouldn't work. Yes. So, it just wouldn't make sense. I mean, imagine let me get rid of this. Imagine I tried representing this, or let me put it this way, this against this, and I tried to insert, and you can sort of see why it wouldn't make sense, create a bar chart. Well, what would you be comparing? It's a bit odd. You're comparing 1, 2, 3, 4. These are numbers. There's nothing to read. You can't understand. If you're trying to compare values, we need a different type of chart. Yes. And this different type of chart, I'll just go back with myself. This different type of chart is called a scatter diagram. Yes, a scatter diagram, when we're comparing numbers. We're almost saying one number affects the other number, or what is the relationship between numbers. Yes. So if you like, we're talking about the relationship of numbers. So like xy, 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 xy. We're really asking, what is the relationship between numbers? So let's show that. Yes. Let's highlight this again, and let's insert. Yes. And this time, the charts we're looking for here is referred to as a scatter diagram, and it says use this chart to show the relationship between sets of values. You can see that. If I click on that, it tells you, you can see this is a really nice thing going on over here. You can see here what I'm basically saying that with more fertilizer, I get more bulbs. This could be, vegetables. And you can see that, and that's what this is saying, and that's what this information is telling us. And we can play around with this. Again, you could, just by clicking in this quick layout button, you could have lines in there, the numbers. So it's really important for you to work with this. And, again, back to the chart element, we could add in data, and titles and labels. But this is for you to play with. Yes, for you to work with. Yes. Okay, great stuff. So the key points again from this are that we have two ways of representing charts. If you're representing information with numbers, pie charts, bar charts, line charts would work. If you're representing two sets of numbers, you want to go for your scatter diagram and your correlation. You can play around with these, and when we get to class, you'll see a couple more examples. Okay, great stuff. Thank you. So that's the end of the Excel file, or the Excel lectures. And the next set of lectures we'll be moving on to will be looking at Microsoft databases. Okay, great stuff. See you then.